Hey guys, Tropical Mix here. I'm Brett. I'm joined by Gabe
Hello.
and Nathan.
That's a me, Nathan.
That was good. You have to do that every time now. This is episode 5 of the Tropicalcast. We have a pretty big docket here. We're going to go over the recent acquisition, the big announcement of the Switch sales. We got a few other stuff here. We kind of got everything from everyone. But first, I just want to check in with everyone. Nate, I'll go to you first. How you been, buddy?
I've been doing great. I've wrapped up the project. That was The Witcher 1, but also kind of worked through a few other quick games that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Gabe, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Have had a pretty relaxing weekend. Not ready for the work week, but got to do it.
Same.
Our anti-work.
True. On Fox News or whatever.
Wait, what happened on Fox News with our anti-work?
One of the mods from there just, I think it was either Fox News or CNN. I forgot. It was just they were just like embarrassing for
I think it was
for that subreddit.
I think
Okay.
I saw something about CNN. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we're working now, and this is work we love to do.
This is.
That's
This
right.
Yeah, I do like doing this. Talking about video games and playing video games are my favorite things to do.
What about you, Brett? How have you been doing?
I'm good. You know, I got some good Mexican food yesterday with a good buddy of mine. Playing a game that I didn't think I was gonna have this much fun with, and yeah, all is good right now. I haven't had to leave the house today, so I think it snowed. And,
That's a good marker of a good day. That's a marker of a good day.
Yeah, it was icy out earlier.
Was it?
You're lucky you didn't have to leave.
I don't know. The last few times it snowed, our neighbors right next door get up hella early and shovel and snow blow and stuff. So I get woken up by that, but I mean, generally they do our half of the driveway too. So I'm like, all right,
Oh, that's nice.
I'm not complaining. Yeah, what's everyone playing? I mean, Gabe, I know you and I are huge into Pokemon right now, but now that you've beat the Witcher, Nate, what
we could talk about Pokemon together.
Let's hear it. I want to know about your idea about Pokemon, Gabe. I heard Brett's yesterday.
I wanted to talk first about the Pathless. I've been playing that on PS5 and having a really good time with it. If you don't know, Brett or listeners, this is a game. Reminds me a lot of a Studio Ghibli kind of storyline where there's a curse that's cursed this land and this island really, and you play as a character called the Hunter, and you go into this land to kind of dispel the curse. There's 4 areas, each has a boss, and each area has these towers you have to unlock. Basically, you take the darkness out of these towers, and each tower, once they're all lit, they kind of weaken the monster of that area, and then you fight it. At least that's been the gameplay loop so far. It's been super fun. The traversal is really fun because you're basically just holding down L2 and you're running, and use this bow and arrow to shoot these diamonds that are floating, and each time you hit it, you speed up. There's a stamina bar.
I heard the movement is pretty. A lot of people jive with it. I mean, are you running or are you gliding?
Well, both. You can run, but then you have this bird that you can glide on as well. Yeah, it's super fun. The music's fun. I like that. There isn't that much dialogue, and they do a lot of the storytelling from the environment or the non-spoken body language. Laura Bailey plays the main character, and I knew that before going in, but even if I didn't, her grunts are pretty recognizable for me, and she grunts a lot in the game. And Troy Baker plays the villain, of course, but they both speak this like I think original language, and it sounds pretty cool when because it sounds like they're fluent in it when they speak it. Yeah, I'm excited to keep playing it. It was one of the games that I missed. I know it's cross gen on PS4, but I wanted to wait until I got a PS5 to kind of experience that frame rate, that smooth frame rate. Yeah, super fun.
That there's quite a lot of grunting in the video game industry. I think there should be a category, the Game Awards, for the best grunt of
best grunt, yes,
best grunt of the year. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's an Annapurna joint, right? No.
I think they published it, but it was developed by Giant Squid, who did Abzu.
Oh, right. Okay. Great game.
It also scored by Austin Wintory, who did that game.
You're right.
Good score.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of that one.
Yeah. PlayStation console exclusive. It's also on iOS. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say it also played an Austin Wintory joint, but before I do, is there anything else you wanted to talk about for Pathless or anything else?
No. Maybe next week I'll have beaten it by then and can share more.
Okay. So I went through a few games in the last week and a half. Vanquish was one, which is a platinum games release back in it was 2011, I think it was. That's what Cullen had said to me the other day. That's been fun, or that was fun. Just the movement in that game is the selling point of being able to just glide around and shoot robots. So that was a good 6 hours. It was fun. But the other game, the two other games that I played besides The Witcher were Donut County, which that's from Annapurna. And that was a really quick morning, just sit down and have a hot beverage, tea or coffee, and just went through that game. Donut County is the gameplay is you're a hole and you're sucking everything up on the surface. So you start with the smaller items, and as you kind of have to do some light puzzle solving to get the items you can, I guess, the items that will go through the hole easier because of the size, but then you'll eventually move up to having whole houses or freeways get sucked into the donut hole, which is part of the whole humor shtick of the game. So that was all right. But then the one that also has Austin Wintory on it was the Banner Saga one. Banner Saga is a strategy RPG, so much akin to the Fire Emblems that we've all played, and it's a game that has really, really good storytelling. It's couched into some Nordic Germanic mythology, so a lot of the Ragnarok and sea serpents and stuff like that. But you're in between the battles that are strategy RPG in nature, you're also managing a caravan and having to make choices based on dilemmas that happen in the caravan, and that can affect the supplies that you have. You might have supplies stolen, or you might be ambushed by bandits or the other enemies that you might encounter. So that was fun. So I beat that. So there's 3 parts to it. It's a trilogy, and maybe we'll get to that later this year. But Austin Wintory definitely flexed in that game, and I really like the soundtrack to that game too. So he's absolutely right. I mean, Abzu was probably my first encounter with his work, I believe. Knowingly, I may have played his other games that have his music, but just a great artist, in my view.
He did Assassin's Creed Syndicate, but you played Unity, right?
You played Syndicate.
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did he do Syndicate?
Did he? I'm pretty sure he did.
I believe so. That was a great soundtrack. I mean, but it was also nothing. I should say it's great, but I also don't really recall any particular track that stood out to me. But I think that's because it followed into the themes of a Victorian London, so with the strong strings and the just kind of the audio like motifs that you kind of think of when it comes to like that era. It did that very well, but it wasn't anything that was remarkable, or at least anything I can recall.
Yeah. Did you say that you beat Donut County in a morning?
No, actually, that's not true. 2 mornings.
Still,
It's
that's pretty impressive.
How long to beat marks it as 2 hours long. So
I love a good short game.
Yes, absolutely. I was working through The Witcher, and I needed to step away for a week and a half, and I stepped away. Then I came back and beat that game too. So I've been busy with working through games, which has just been
Sounds like
great because it hasn't felt like there's a backlog complex in how we think about this project that we're all working on to somehow clear all the games that we want to play. But sometimes, it's a great feeling to just go one after the other, like boom, 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 like, oh, I'm gonna play this now because this is it's a different rhythm. So Banner Saga, which is it's a strategy RPG with a very strong story, and then moving on to Vanquish, which is just high octane action, just gliding around everywhere. Smoking cigarettes, yes. Don't smoke, please. And then Donut County, which was great for the writing and the humor, which I thought was probably the most the best part about it, because the gameplay, the whole concept, just it got old somewhat pretty quick for me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I beat Pokemon 2 days ago. I'm working through the post game right now, and as you were over yesterday, Nate, and we were talking about it. Trying to complete the Pokedex, which, do you know offhand, Gabe, the number, like what the final number is?
No. Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen screenshots from YouTubers. I think it's like 240 or something like that. I'm currently sitting at 206.
Wow.
So I'm pretty close. I beat Ratchet yesterday. I think. See, part of the problem is I know as soon as Elden Ring drops at the end of the month, I'm going to drop everything else. So I think I don't want to start like any big games right now, but I started Death's Door.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm currently in the second area. And I'm liking that. I don't know. I'm assuming you're further in that than I am, Gabe. Do the enemies start dropping more souls, or is it just because I've put like 2 hours or so into it already, and I only have one upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get souls from like the harder enemies, but a lot of the souls you'll just find from exploring, doing puzzles. I got to the final boss of that game, and it's on. I'm on a break from it for the time being, because it was really hard.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. I mean,
I was too.
It's a Souls-like, but it doesn't punish you for dying either.
Yeah,
which is good because like the first boss, I don't remember what move it was. It did this one move, and I kept getting hit, and I'm like, fuck. And then I died, but like by the time you get to him the second point, I'm like, I already know what he's gonna do. You know, so it made it a lot easier. But I got that. I'm gonna keep playing Pokemon. I think what I'm gonna do, since I still have the Wii U hooked up, is I'm gonna go back and I think I'm just gonna rush through the 2 or 3 levels I have left in Fire Emblem. I was trying to like get every character, and I think
Which one?
the one with Hector and Lynn and
Oh yeah, the GBA one. Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna do the other. I don't think I'm gonna do Hector's campaign, because I heard it's basically the same, just harder.
Yeah.
But like I've been like following a guide, like because I like getting every character in Fire Emblem, even if I'm not gonna use all of them. And I think I have like one more character left to get, but I might just skip it just so I can actually get through the game. And then I need to beat Luigi's Mansion 3. I've been on the last level since Sword and Shield came out.
Wow.
Dude, I
Okay.
I was playing that game, and then Sword and Shield dropped, and then I just forgot about it. But like I said in our Discord earlier, like I just ordered Dread, and I've been wanting to play that. But I kept telling myself, like, wait until you clear out some backlog games and stuff and whatnot. But I figured with the deal, it was a good time to get it. So I'm excited to dive into that. But yeah, should we jump in, boys?
Sure. Yeah. Talk some news.
All right. I just want to briefly, since we didn't get to do an episode about it, just briefly bring up the Activision deal. Microsoft is, if you haven't heard by now, Microsoft is buying Activision for, it was like 68 something billion.
Yeah, 0.7.
I wish they would have just gone up to 69. We all
Yeah,
like,
no, you're right.
Nice. Everyone would have said nice. We all would have been happy.
Right.
We won't go into this too deep, but just what was your guys' initial reaction to this? Let's start with Gabe.
Shocked, surprised, flabbergasted. Didn't think it was real. I was in a group chat. I think I was driving, and I just like took a peek at it. I think you were in that same group chat, Brett, where someone's like said like Xbox buying Activision, LOL, and I was like, what? Those are my initial thoughts. The more I thought about it, the more just unsure I was about the whole thing. I think it's great that I think Xbox will do their part to make sure that Activision Blizzard and all of its studios are better than what they were before in terms of harassment and abuse and toxic environment. I am worried as someone that works for a union and is a member of a union, the amount of union busting they're going to be doing, just because as a response to that investigation from the state of California, workers were doing walkouts, and there was a group of QA testers at Raven that started their own union, and I just feel like Microsoft isn't going to want that just because they're a big corporation and unions, for the most part, aren't in their best interests. Even if that's not true, I think there is that misconception that unions are bad, but of course I'm biased. So I think that's where I'm most curious to see how that shakes out, is whether Microsoft will allow them to continue to unionize, because then presumably that would spread over into like the Xbox studios.
Yeah. Nate, what were your thoughts?
I think my initial thought was I'm glad the Federal Trade Commission is going to remain busy as they always are. But but I know that they're just doing their due diligence on that. Yeah, I would hope that the behavior and the policies and the procedures that Blizzard or Activision had that would kind of engender harassment and abuse. I'd hope that Microsoft's leadership in that would squash that out. I think Gabe brings up a good point about how a lot of the sectors in Activision are, and the individuals there, developing unions, and as we saw with Raven over in Wisconsin, that's a thing now. And so I think we'll see how Microsoft handles that. On the game side, it's gonna feel like really crazy and surreal to have like World of Warcraft be part of Game Pass or something like that. And that's just, we'll see. I think it could. There's just so many different outcomes that could occur, good and bad. And I mean, we all have the idea of like, oh wow, all these first party games that were Blizzard and Activision are probably going to be on Game Pass now, and that's something different. But it follows the model of what Microsoft's been doing the last half decade of grabbing studios and giving them the support they need to put out projects that they want to do, like how we've seen with Psychonauts 2. I mean, there's been a lot of documentation about that game of struggling until Microsoft picked them up, and they've released a product that was stellar, and that's what supposedly, but it's won Game of the Year awards. So I think perhaps it have positive outcomes and as far as product, production, but we'll see, as they are a large company and they are employing human beings. That's going to be a continuing struggle, as it is for any entity, from the smallest nonprofit to the largest corporations such as Microsoft. So hopefully it's beneficial for everybody, and hopefully the journalists that have, and some of the policy making sectors of our country, especially with the California lawsuit, like there's hopefully, if there's any wrongdoing, that it's laid bare and people are able to see what's going on. And I think that's what happened the last couple of years now with Activision, is that things were illuminated that in the mainstream people didn't know were happening, but a lot of people did know they were happening, and they were often the people who were experiencing the harassment and the friends and the families of those people. So hopefully all is well and continues to be well.
Yeah, I agree. I think the first thing, like once it goes through, Bobby needs to go. Like, and it's been talked about online a lot, but honestly, he's probably gonna get a big sum of money out of this.
Mhm. Yep.
Honestly, like I picture someone's gonna make a meme of Mr. Moneybags from Spyro, and they're just gonna put Bobby's name on it.
Nice.
So yeah, he and any of the other executives that were involved with these harassments, claims, and whatnot, they all need to go. And I think Phil knows that. I think Satya knows that. And honestly, I don't see a situation where they do keep them. Hopefully, but yeah, like you guys have said, like as long as Microsoft is able to clean up Activision's act, from their studio culture just to how executives handle these issues. And I think Xbox will. Like you brought up, Nate, like these studios are getting a lot of support from Microsoft, but also Microsoft's not pushing anything on them either. So I think it's a good get for them. On the game side, I think my biggest thing is they let everyone out of the Call of Duty mine. I mean, like, I know Call of Duty is a big maker for them, but they have 3 main studios all working on them. And I think one of the big issues is the cycle they're going at. Like, even with the 3 studios rotating, it's not enough time. Like, I think COD needs to come off yearly release. I think they should keep it multi-plat, but if the 3 studios still want to work on COD, let them work on COD. But like Beanux and Toys for Bob, like, they've shown they can make very good games with like the Crash trilogy and the Spyro trilogy and Crash 4.
Curious Visions.
Yeah, but well, they got folded into Blizzard. Which I don't know. I don't know how many studios Blizzard actually has, but I would like to see them brought back as their own thing, because they did very good on the. I can't remember if they did the Crash trilogy or they did Spyro. They did one of them, and then they did the Tony Hawk remake also. I would like to see them come out of there. I would like to see Toys for Bob and Beanux not have to work on COD. I would like Raven to start making their own stuff again. They made, well,
X-Men Legends.
X-Men Legends 1 and 2.
Nice.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which I hold very dear. They also made the game where I was hyped as shit and disappointed in Singularity. It was still a good game. I think I set myself up for expectations on that. But I would like to see these people use their creative brains for something other than Call of Duty.
Me too.
And if they're going to let everyone play nice, I could totally see Toys for Bob doing a Banjo remake. Which a lot of people want, and Rare have said they don't have any interest. Double Fine doesn't have any interest, so that would be really cool to see. But speaking of acquisitions, we got Bungie is being bought by Sony for $3.6 billion. What do you guys think of that news?
When did they get dropped, or when did they depart Activision? That was like 2 years ago, right?
I think it was like 2 years. Yeah, they bought out their contracts.
Yeah. Same. Yeah, I hope creative freedom is not dampered in any way, and I think, if I recall correctly, that was a big part of why they wanted to depart from Activision, was having a little bit more tighter reign of their own product, and Sony allows them to do that. That would be great. I think. I guess I do have a thought in my head. Are they gonna try to start developing other projects, or they're just gonna prepare for like a Destiny 3? Because I believe I saw a pretty simple graphic roadmap that I think Destiny 2 does have a termination date of some sorts as far as their content. So we'll see if that's correct, and see if they'll push forward for Destiny 3, or if they'll see what they do.
I think they made a 10-year plan in 2014. That was with the first game.
Yep.
Yeah. After Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard and presumably took COD off the table for PlayStation, I was thinking about like what shooters they have, like what big shooters they would have, and I thought maybe they could like revive something like a Killzone or Resistance, kind of bring that back with like a modern facelift. But then this happened, and I was, similar feeling, like shocked, surprised, flabbergasted. I know that they're working on a new original IP, and I think that'll become a PlayStation exclusive that comes to PC eventually. And then I think even after they're done with their like Destiny 2 like or Destiny roadmap, I think it'll still stay multi-platform. There just won't be any new content updates. Yeah, I mean, I have not as strong feelings about this acquisition than the other one, because the amount was so small and the amount of content that Bungie puts out compared to Activision Blizzard. I think I'm more happy with this acquisition than the other one.
I just want to say, I believe Jim Ryan and Bungie have said they're staying multi-platform.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, Bungie will be, like they're under Sony, but they're still publishing and distributing their own stuff. Yeah, I mean, there's this... They posted this article the day it was announced from Jim Ryan. He said, first off, I want to be very clear to the community that Bungie will remain an independent and multi-platform studio and publisher. As such, we believe it makes sense for it to sit alongside the PlayStation Studios organization, and we are incredibly excited about the opportunities for synergies and collaboration between these two world-class groups. So to me, it kind of sounds like, okay, like, you know, you have Xbox, but like underneath it, you've got Xbox Game Studios, Bethesda, and then Activision when they buy them. So to me, this sounds like you're going to have Bungie and then PlayStation Studios. And obviously, they're both going to be under Sony.
Right.
So, I don't know. When this first was announced, I thought it was funny because Bungie's always like, you know, we want our independence and whatnot. That's why they originally broke off from Microsoft. And then, you know, they went to Activision for the deal. They weren't owned by Activision, but obviously things with Activision didn't go how they wanted, which I feel like most people knew that wouldn't have been a very good choice. So they broke off, and then I think I know they had a deal with NetEase. I think they got like $100 million from them to like develop something. But I think I'm assuming Bungie this way was like, we have to remain multi-platform because you have such a big base outside of the PlayStation ecosystem. Like you have your PC players, you've got your Xbox players, and you also have Stadia players. I know there's not like a lot of them, but you do have a community on Stadia. And the fact that all of it is cross-play, you know, like, that's not something you want to give up, you know, like. So I think they, what's the word I'm looking here? I think they negotiated like, you know, okay, yeah, we'll be a PlayStation studio, but we want to remain independent because we want to keep the player base all together. And honestly, I think this is a really good get for Sony. They really don't have any multiplayer centric titles. You know, like Uncharted's got multiplayer, Last of Us has multiplayer, Ghost has co-op, but there's not like a huge multiplayer game for them.
This does tie into the headline I saw that they want to have quite a few live service games by 2025.
Yeah, exactly. And Bungie, I mean, you know, Bungie's been making multiplayer games since Halo 2, which came out in 2004. So they have a very good understanding of making a multiplayer game and like keeping it supported and active. And they have a really good infrastructure. So I think they benefit Sony greatly here. Like Sony can learn a lot from them. And then of course, you know, they don't have to worry about backing anymore. so they're able to make what they want. So I think this was a really good get for them. I don't know if I'm curious to see if they're gonna actually keep them multi-plat. I know they both said that, but I don't know. PlayStation has said things before, and then they do the opposite, and same thing with Xbox and Nintendo. Everyone does it. So I'm curious to see if they stand by that.
Yeah, me too. And I know there was a lot taken into what Phil Spencer said post their acquisition and how he was phrasing things. Like he said that Xbox wants to keep COD like multi-platform. Then Jermaine says that Bungie or like the games are gonna remain multi-plat, but that could still mean like that's still true if Destiny stays multi-plat, but something else in the future doesn't stay multi-plat. Like that would still be true.
I think Sony's at the point now, like especially with their comment about like they want live service games. I think Sony's at that point where they're realizing like, hey, like Microsoft is a competitor, but like they're not the main one anymore. Like I know Stadia's kind of blundered, and we'll talk about that later. But like Amazon and Apple, and Google are all looking to get in the space, and they have a lot more money and a lot more infrastructure that they can leverage than Sony does. So I think Sony's starting to realize, like, we need to start opening up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But
I bet we're probably going to get some kind of Destiny TV series or movie, distributed by Sony.
Seeing that, I didn't know this prior to this update, but apparently Bungie has said they're looking to like work on a TV show or break out into other mediums.
Yeah,
and Sony makes sense for that. They have a movie division.
I could totally see like a tile on HBO Max in 2025 that just has Guardians as the title.
Nice.
Speaking of TV shows, last Sunday during the... I'm going to be honest, I don't know anything about football. I don't know what game was playing last Sunday.
Yeah.
They showed the trailer for the Halo TV show. Did you guys have a chance to... Did you guys watch that?
I did watch it.
I have not.
What were your thoughts, Gabe?
It looks like Halo to me. I mean, I thought Chief looked really good, like his armor. He looked tall. I'm unsure about the I think they're just using the actor's voice who's in the suit. I don't know if I like that voice. It sounds like he's trying too hard to sound like Master Chief. Yeah, I thought it did look like a TV series. It just had that feel to it. Kind of almost looks like someone's like YouTube project, like Corridor Crew or something. I don't think I'll like pay for a subscription to watch it, but I'm curious to see how it does. I know this has been kind of in the works for a long time, with different people attached to it. Yeah. Is Spielberg a part of this, or was he just at some point?
He was at the original announcement, which was when they announced MCC.
Wow.
Yeah, that was like what 2014. Yeah, it's been a while. I don't know. The thing about like that you were talking about the voice, like a lot of people are like, why didn't they get Steve Downes to do it? Because you can just have the guy in the suit, play him, but you can have the voice of Master Chief doing, especially since they got Jen Taylor back for Cortana. I don't know. I feel like I don't think he's trying to sound like Master Chief. Because the two voices are very different. But I think not casting Steve Downes. What I think is by the end of the season we're gonna get like a Mando where he takes the helmet off, and you're gonna see his face.
Okay.
I remember when they like first announced this, and a lot of people were like, "That's not canon," or blah blah blah. That fucks with the canon. And it took them a while to come out and say this is a different canon, like it's separate. Which I think is a good way to go about it, because then you're not tied down by the 6 main games. You know, the like 7 spin-offs, and then the 25 books they're at right now.
I totally agree with the the helmet thing. I think the gamers are totally like the whole keep the helmet on is very sacred and all this. But I think for that broad mass appeal, the unmasking is so everybody just wants to see. And I think it will be a moment. I totally agree with your assessment, Brett. I think that will be something at the end, the finale.
Yeah. I think Gabe, I think I agree with you. I'm not. This is the only thing I would sign up for Paramount Plus for. I think what I might do is I might just wait until the season's over, and then, try it out for a month, or if there's a free trial, try that out, binge it, and then call it a day. But like from a huge Halo fan, I want this to do well so that we can get more Halo content, because I think Halo would make for a great TV series. But also just from a video game perspective, I want this to do well, because I mean, like, we have The Witcher on Netflix, and I know there's a Fallout TV show in the works, and I think Dishonored was announced too.
The League of Legends TV show.
And apparently that was
Arcane.
Too. Yeah, is that one also a Netflix exclusive?
Yeah,
I believe so.
It's good.
So, yeah, I want to see, like, video games are ripe for like a TV show, format. Way better than a movie could do it. So I want to see this do well, and like, I mean, Netflix has theirs, but like, I want to see. I mean, I don't want to have 12 different subscription services to watch all these shows, but I want to see how different companies handle them. So I also want it to do good for that, so that we get more content. Because I would love a Gears of War show too.
Yep.
Or a movie. I would take a movie for that one. But,
I know there was a big reaction to Cortana's appearance in this TV show. What did you think, Brett?
So, a lot of people hated that she wasn't blue. And then someone on Twitter changed it so she is blue. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
But she honestly, to me, she looks worse blue. I think what they need to do, and I don't know if the episode's already finished, I think what they need to do is just put some more detail on her so that she looks more like an AI versus an actual person. But like, just hearing the voice again just like made me nostalgic.
Yeah, it was like home, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy with that. Nate, you should definitely check the trailer out.
I will watch the trailer.
Moving to the next big guy, Nintendo just had their investor meeting, and the Switch, as of December 31st of 2021, has now sold 103.54 million units. They also announced they just beat out the Wii, which was at 101.63 million
Bonkers.
units.
I think us three can take a participation clap trophy for that, for our part in that number.
Right.
Yeah.
They have our money.
I might currently have 3 Switches.
What do you mean, Mike? What you mean?
I do. Yeah, I'm a big.
It's a big number.
Yeah, I'm part of that. 103 million.
For some reason, I thought the Wii had sold more units than that. Like, to me, the Wii was like such a big part of culture. Like, even like your non-gamer relatives had a Wii in their house. But I feel like I see less Switches at my relatives' houses now than I did Wii's.
I think part of that was like the Wii was just like such a big family thing.
Yeah.
So like when it came out, like everyone had a Wii. Your grandparents had a Wii. You know.
Wii Sports was so accessible.
It was.
Everybody.
It was a good intro for people who typically didn't play video games to get into it. You know, like everyone was bowling, everyone was playing tennis. So, I think I don't know. I'd have to go look at how like the sales history went for the Wii, but I feel like there was like a huge amount in the beginning, and then it just kind of just kept declining because like. You know, a lot of people bought a Wii and then it sat there collecting dust for how long? Because you know they weren't actually.
They played like 2 or 3 games on it.
They weren't actually like gamers. You know, it was basically Wii Sports Resort, Mario Kart was basically, you know, what they played. Yeah, I don't know. That's just for a system that's not actually next gen, like it's just, to me, it's ridiculous, especially coming off the Wii U. Like,
yeah,
the Wii U sold, I'd have to go look it up, but I'm gonna say it was like
13, a lot less,
13 million, like something tiny. Wow. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have to go find the sales like for the games, but some of the just the attachment rate on the Switch is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I know, like Mario Kart and Animal Crossing, like what that sold in a year, like that is just insane.
Yeah. Okay, here I got a list here.
Cool.
So Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, 43.35 million units. Like that to me is just, and that came out in
2017, right?
Yeah, Switch launched in March of 17, right?
Yeah.
So that came out a month after launch.
Oh.
And it sold almost half. Like that's like almost 1 out of every 2 people who own a Switch own Mario Kart. That's just ridiculous to me. I mean, like it's a good party game too. So I don't.
Yeah.
But
easy to pick up. There's a lot of controls you can modify based off your comfortability with driving.
And then Animal Crossing's at 37.62 million. That was literally like, what's the expression? Lightning in a bottle.
For sure, yeah.
Like that came out
There's
right when everything was shutting down.
Perfect time.
Smash Ultimate's at 27.4 million. Breath of the Wild's at 25.8 million.
What number is that on that list?
Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
4.
Okay.
I do
So
feel...
you could argue... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You could argue that Animal Crossing is like a multiplayer game. Yeah, those first 3 on that list are like multiplayer games, and then like number 4 being a single player game with that many copies sold is just, yeah, that's wild. No pun intended.
Well, and you got to think too. I mean, I don't know how many sales it had on Wii U, but there were probably a good amount of Wii U owners who were like, "I'm not buying this for a new system." So,
Yeah.
At number 5, you got Pokemon Sword and Shield at 23.9 million. Mario Odyssey at 23.02 million. Okay. This next one, I think, does not deserve to be where it's at. Super Mario Party at 17.39 million.
It's a party game, even if it's not the best one.
At number 8, you got Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee at 14.3 million. Number 9, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl at 13.97 million. And number 10, Ring Fit Adventure, 13.53 million.
That one's surprising to me that it's in that list.
You said it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since you need to buy that ring. I mean, you can't buy it by itself. You need that.
Right.
Thing.
You need the ring.
It's like $80.
A quick Pokemon aside. Do you two foresee Gen 5 remake coming out on the Switch?
I do. Because I know one thing that came out at that investor call is that they said the Switch's life cycle is halfway over. So that'd be 5 years to make a remake.
I feel like in that time we need a Switch Pro because like some of the games are not looking good. But I could see it, especially since like if Game Freak's finally handing development off of the remakes to another company, like they did for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, I think we could get that quicker. Than it's typically been. I feel like it's hard because I feel like Pokemon Legends throws a piece into the cycle here, and like I don't know where they're gonna go from this. Because like, do you do a Gen 9 next? Do you do another Let's Go? You know, like I don't know what their plan is here now. But I could see them doing a. My thing with Gen 5 is I don't know how they're gonna handle it. Like,
with 1 and 2.
Yeah, like do you just remake the first one and then a few years later you get a Gen 5 Part 2 remake, or
smush them together?
I feel like that would be hard to do as one game. Honestly, what I could see them doing is releasing 2 games. So like you'll have they'll just make it one title. So, like, the first game will be a remake of Black and White, and then the second game's a remake of Black 2 and White 2. Because I don't know. It's kind of weird because Gen 5 is unique in that where it's a direct sequel. Unless they do, like, both games on one cart, and you pick, kind of like how most remaster collections do it. But I don't see the Pokemon Company throwing that much money away.
Yeah.
What I don't know. That's a lot of sales, but I mean, like, we all own a Switch. What are your guys' like favorite games and memories so far been?
Mine is I um mine is secondhand. Just watching Muna play through those games has just been really it's just been really fun to watch, and they're a great starting point for somebody who's experience the games has been minimal, especially modern gaming. People may at a younger age have had experience to side-scrolling Mario or Mortal Kombat and Grand Theft Auto at your older cousin's house. So it's really great to see her kind of go through those games, and at the same time, for me, who has been for the most part like a pretty indifferent to Mario games, um, have started to develop an interest to dabble in like 3D World, which is something I'm kind of working through right now, which is just great because it's bite-sized levels where you can just run through, and for me the challenge of getting through the levels as quick as possible is just always a challenge. It's fun. So I think seeing that happen, having seeing somebody and trying to guide them and learning how to do the things we take for granted, like moving a character or an avatar, but then also simultaneously rotating the camera it's completely foreign to a lot of people. So who are just haven't had the experience that we've had, the amount of it. I mean, so it's been really cool. I think it's been great. I think the Switch itself is, I think, a system that I'd like to spend more time in, because there's so many games on there that I'll probably not be able to experience on a different system. So, yeah.
I think that's really sweet. You get to kind of experience that secondhand. With Muna, that's really nice. One of my favorite memories is actually the launch night of the Switch. It's the first console I ever pre-ordered and got on like launch night. Went to GameStop at midnight. I pre-ordered the Switch and the Breath of the Wild Collector's Edition. It's a big old box. It's really cool, and just like the memories I have of getting the Switch and then going home, unboxing it with my roommate at the time, is playing Zelda until I fell asleep. I felt like a kid again, and Nintendo, I think, is the company that makes me feel like the kid the most.
I think my favorite thing about it is just seeing all these franchises that haven't, I don't want to say gotten a lot of love from Nintendo, but have kind of been neglected in a way. Get like a big boost. Like I said earlier, like the Switch attachment rate is ridiculous, but your Zeldas and your Mario and your Pokemon always sell. But Luigi Mansion 3 is the best selling out of the franchise, seeing Fire Emblem on a home console again after, I think it's been 14 years, was nice again. Kirby has a game out. It's got another one coming. Just seeing these franchises do well gives me hope. We're getting Advance Wars in the next few months. We got a new 2D Metroid after 19 years. And getting to play Pokemon finally on a home console. I know Coliseum had XD and the GameCube had Coliseum and XD, which I love. But actually getting mainline games on the Switch has been nice, even if they've been kind of lacking. But I mean, it's a great system to have with friends, playing Smash or Mario Kart. I remember, Nate, when we used to go to Joe and Shelly's apartment and where was that, Minnetonka? We played Rocket League a few times. Even though playing Rocket League 4-player on a Switch is not ideal. But yeah, it's probably what I enjoy most about it.
You guys know that Legends have sold 6.5 million units its first week?
You got to think that's only one version.
Right. And I'd say those numbers are pretty in line with the mainline series.
It's selling better than Sword and Shield is, which is
It's nuts.
the best selling, and I hope it overtakes it because I really, for the most part, did not enjoy Sword and Shield, and seeing that as like the fifth highest game on the list, I'm kind of like, But also, I want Game Freak to look at this and be like, yeah, people want you to change stuff. So I think it's a good starting point, and I hope it's gotten really good word of mouth. Like you and I have talked about, Gabe. Like I was thinking of not buying it at launch until reviews started coming out. Nate, I do think you need to play Fire Emblem.
Okay, just scribbled it on my mental to-do list.
It'll be all right.
Be all right.
It'll be all right.
I still can't believe I think that was Chrome.
Not Chrome.
I know. Not Clayton.
Nice.
Don't play that on Switch.
Oh,
not.
Yeah.
All right, we got two things left. One's quick, so I'll leave that for last. You guys saw the news about Google trying to salvage Stadia?
Yeah. It's sad, but not surprising.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've played around with Stadia a few times because Colin was super pro Stadia in the beginning. I don't know. My thoughts were like it's cool, but as I consider myself like a core gamer. Like I can get these experiences better somewhere else. But also just the game library. I know it's gotten better. Again, there wasn't much I could get on Stadia that I couldn't get somewhere else. So I didn't really have a lot of thought about it. Colin used it for a good amount, but Nate, I know you have a little more hands-on with it than I did.
Yeah, I played. What did I play? I remember I played. Before. What was it called? It was like when it was a beta. It was like Project something. But I had played Assassin's Creed Odyssey on a beta, and I was impressed at the time. The technology, what I had thought would be a mess of low bit rate and large pixel blocks, it was relatively clear, and details were illustrated just fine. And I thought it was really impressive. They had a steep hill to climb, and I think so. They're trying to pivot to make this, I think, more of a just an auxiliary surface, something similar to like YouTube TV or Google One, things like this. So for them to, like I said, it was a hard, steep incline for them to really make an impact or to really scoop up some of the market when you're paying for a subscription and then on top of it buying the game itself, which I don't think is, in a business sense, I can't say that that's impractical or not a good idea, but I think just the fact is so many gamers right now are kind of entrenched to what they want to play on. So I think it would so far it's been difficult for Google to penetrate that, and which is why I think they're pivoting, and that's why months ago they are like, yeah, we're not doing first party stuff anymore. They're going to try to, I think they're going to try to keep Stadia alive, but it's just going to not, I don't think it's going to have the same YouTube ads as it's had for the last year or so. I think it's going to be something a little bit different, or just to a different scale to what they're trying to sell to people.
I haven't seen an ad for Stadia in so long.
It has been a while, you're right.
Yeah. I think Stadia was just like a little bit too ahead for its time, like the concept, because I think now we see Xbox kind of doing the same thing with game streaming. Like now you can, on console, I'm guessing PC, you can stream games right from Game Pass. And I know at the most recent CES they announced that some brands of smart TVs are going to come with Game Pass. So it's kind of what Stadia was doing, but you needed a dongle or the Chromecast to use it. I think what's different between what Google and Xbox is doing is that Xbox has been in the space for much longer. So when they go to their partners to get their games on a Game Pass, I think it's a much easier sell because they probably have that experience and rapport. And Google just didn't have that because they were just getting in. I mean, they had done mobile games up until that point. So it's hard to get in that space when it's been growing so long without them.
Right. I mean, people are already locked into ecosystems that they've been in there for decades. Selling people on xCloud is ridiculously easy when you have Game Pass as a tool to draw people in, and of course, just brand loyalty for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think these most recent acquisitions by Microsoft with Bethesda and Activision Blizzard, like that just takes those games off of off of Stadia, off of Luna probably too. But yeah, which is what they wanted. I mean, they're in competition with Google and Amazon, so it makes sense that they bought those studios for that purpose too. They're like, mine, only mine.
I think part of it too, like in regards to like Xbox and how Google did it, was like, if you don't want to do the cloud, like if you don't want to do xCloud, you have an alternative. You know, they have actual hardware that the games can run on. And I know like Stadia, you can play it on a TV with a dongle, or you can play it on your phone or whatnot. And from what I know, your like saves and stuff are synced, but you're getting the same experience like there. Versus, if I wanted to, not that I want to, but I can bring a controller to work and play the MCC or Infinite on my phone. Probably not going to be a good experience.
Right.
But my stuff syncs, and then when I get home, it's like, okay, well, I just left off on this campaign mission on my phone. Now I'm loading it up on my Xbox, and I'm getting, I'm exactly where I left off, and I'm getting a smoother experience. And Google doesn't have that. And then I think just in regards to like the casual player base, or like the people who typically don't play games, that like Stadia theoretically would be very good for, because you don't have to buy a $400, $500 system. You can just buy the $60 bundle or whatever that Stadia has. But I think your point about the publishers is a good thing, because like I remember seeing the announcements like on Twitter or Reddit, like this game's coming to Stadia, which is cool, but like that game's been out for 3 years already, And yeah, I think the library was a big part of it, and I think that's going to be an issue with Luna also. I don't know. We have like 3. I think Colin bought 2 of the Stadia Premier bundles, like when they were like on a deep sale. So like we have 3 Stadias somewhere in the house.
But why?
I think he was trying to give Kaylee one for her birthday last year.
Horrible birthday present.
Um,
I'm sorry.
But also, like, Kaylee just doesn't play games. Like, her PS4 collects dust. Her Switch isn't even hooked up at the new house yet. So.
Yeah.
All right, last thing to cover quick, and this one will be quick, and I think we all knew. Rockstar has officially come out and said they are on active development on the next GTA title. Does this surprise you guys?
Kind of, yeah.
Did it surprise me back in 2013 when I decided to hop on Mankato public transportation to go pick up GTA 5 spontaneously and bring it back home?
I remember that.
It did surprise me. Yeah, I'm excited for more back sweat and
Nice.
what that's going to look like with, insert buzzword 4K ray tracing, blah blah blah. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it'll look. I'm sure it'll be a huge success.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the best-selling game of all time, just like I think 5 is.
Yeah, 5 was huge. I've kind of fallen off GTA. I haven't even beat GTA 5. Just thinking of going back to it, it's just daunting with how big that game is. I would like to see. I'd like to see them go back to Vice City. Out of the PS2 trilogy, like, that was probably my favorite setting. And GTA 4 went back to Liberty City. GTA 5 went back to what was it called?
Los Santos.
Yes,
Los
Los Santos.
San Andreas.
So I think going back to Vice City would be really cool, or even a new setting.
Yeah, that would be interesting. An interesting question to be if they were to basically establish a new locale, and if we were to think of a United States parallel. I mean, we have Liberty City for New York, Vice City, Miami, and Los Santos, the LA metro area. Are they going to put
do Chicago or like some Texas city?
Sure.
I think Chicago would be actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Just the urban sprawl of a Texas, just a endless grid of streets you can just ride through.
Yep.
Do you guys want them to keep like the 3 protagonists thing, or?
I think they should go down to 1. I think it should be a female one if they want to be ambitious. I think they should put it on the front of the game. I know they would probably never do that. I think they should also keep GTA Online a separate free-to-play thing once the next game comes out.
Yeah, I think that would. I mean, they make so much money off that.
Yeah.
I'm totally down for the idea of them just having multiple protagonists. I think it plays well to their strength of just having these caricatures of people with over exaggerated characteristics, and having more people to do that. It allows them to kind of really broaden the pool of what they can do. So that I think that would play to their strengths.
I think it'd be. Like I said, I didn't beat the story, so I don't know if it gets better, but I remember Michael being like really boring comparatively to the other 2. And Trevor is Trevor.
Trevor is Trevor.
So I think it'd be interesting if they kind of went a more RPG route with it, where once you get to a certain point in the story, you transition to a different character, like kind of like episodes, but I feel like that's, I don't know, it's hard to describe. I'm trying to think of a game that does it well. you know how Colin was talking about like 13 Sentinels, how you can't go too far into a story until you play these other stories from these other characters' perspectives because it would like spoil things, you know.
Yes.
So
Yep.
kind of something like that I think would be really cool, and that could keep, you know, that way you could have multiple different protagonists, where they have their own parts to play in the story, but then there's parts where it obviously involves, you know, the other protagonists in it too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Go ahead, Brett.
I was just gonna say I don't know if it's something I'm gonna get at launch. I remember I got the original GTA 5 on launch, mostly for the online, and then I don't know. I mean, I should have expected this. It's Grand Theft Auto, but the reason I stopped playing online was I did a mission with a guy, and I basically had to carry the whole mission, and like saved us. And then as soon as we turned in our mission and got our money, he ran me over with his car, and then stole my money. And I mean, it's Grand Theft Auto, so I kind of should have expected that, but that just put me off to the game, and I'm like, yeah.
I got GTA 5 for the opposite reason. I didn't want to play like the multiplayer. I got it for the single player. And I've been kind of disappointed that they never added any single player DLC since then.
You can blame online for making them boatloads of money for that.
Yeah.
Those shark cards.
I just had the home run Grand Slam idea that probably wouldn't work, but I think maybe it wouldn't fit the mold of what GTA is. GTA has always been the location has always been a continuous map. Even if in San Andreas you had San Fierro, and then whatever the Las Vegas counterpart was. I can't remember what that was. But I guess the thought in my head came, what if they developed more than one different continuous area where you could travel from one to the other? So instead, I think the safe bet and probably most likely successful would be to put it back in Vice City. But what if they went like international and having characters interact with each other from different locations? It would cut down on their ability to really do what Rockstar has done well, is to add so much detail and pay so much attention to making these worlds feel alive. But I think there is a notion that technology is there for very, very, very quick load times, and for the memory that's on the memory size and the speed that's on the consoles would really allow, I think, for some pretty vibrant and different locations. I think that would be kind of the home run.
Yeah.
But I think most likely and probably more successfully, they'd probably maybe just be safe and do a Vice City thing.
That's actually a really good idea, and I think, so far, like the cities are based on real places, and like geography wise, like they've been pretty accurate. But what if they were to do, say, Vice City, which is based off Miami, and then what if they came up with a Chicago equivalent and
like something close by, like Cuba or something? I don't know.
Well, not even. I was just thinking, like, geographically, Chicago and Miami are not close to each other.
Right.
But there's nothing that says in the GTA world that they couldn't be,
Yeah, like a Gotham and Metropolis kind of thing.
Exactly.
That close to each other.
Yeah.
There's always been an airport in a GTA game.
There has.
True.
So, yeah, what's not to say they could do that? Like, have a big map of Vice City and then have a big map of whatever they want to call their Chicago or
Right.
San Antonio or Dallas or whatever they want to do. I think that would actually be a really cool idea. I do like that.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
I don't think
Real.
they're gonna do that, but
Yeah.
you should send Rockstar a strongly worded message.
Yeah, I should create a Twitter and just add them.
Be like, hey, yo, Rockstar. I mean, that's all I got. You guys got anything else on this?
Nope, not from my side.
Video games. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Play more video games. That's exactly.
It's healthy for you.
It is healthy. It's a good stress coping mechanism.
Oh yeah.
One video game a day keeps the fill in the blank away.
Nice. Keeps the reality away.
Keeps responsibilities away.
Yeah.
Great. With great video games comes great
responsibility.
Imagination.
More responsibility.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Until next time, we are Tropical Mix.
Bye-bye. Slurp you all later.
Bye.